Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel. This channel was created a long time ago in order to spread Americana concepts, as in the Tea Party with the American Revolution. The American Revolution was officially begun in 1776, though the battles actually started in 1775. We are now looking at a very terrifying future for America, and it could quite easily be the end of America. And I don't mean directly because of the cootie crisis that is upon us, though it appears to be the catalyst. What I'm about to say, I have said to many people over the past few weeks, and at the end and the middle, and sometimes the beginning of the conversation, I have begged them to please tell me I'm wrong. No one has done that. Maybe you will. We were in a choice when this crisis began with the cootie, that we quickly learned one of two things had to be true. We lose a lot of people now to the cootie, or we lose generations of people to poverty. Poverty has always been the planet's number one killer. When you're poor, you cannot pay a doctor. When you're poor, you cannot eat enough to survive. When you are poor, everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and you can't get it fixed. And that's the difference between being poor and being rich. Things go wrong when you're rich too. You just have the means to hopefully get out of it. There's very little hope when you're poor, and that's another causal factor. When you're poor, many people become despaired, and then they commit suicide. Okay, so what does it have to do with America and the cootie? Last Sunday, President Trump made the choice to keep America on lockdown. Suggested that's all he can do as a president. It's actually up to the governors and the mayors and those littler folk, because of the way the Constitution's set up. He made the choice to keep us on lockdown minimally for another 30 days to the end of April. Once he made that choice and suggested it to America, then the option between have a lot of people die now from the cootie or have generations die from poverty, that choice was decided. We have taken the path, many of us unwillingly, that we will not face this head on. We are. It's already a week later, and we are, with 10 million people in the last 2 weeks alone who have signed up for unemployment, have put ourselves in the position that we are now destroying our nations financially. I haven't heard anybody speak about what I'm saying until 2 nights ago, and then suddenly the media let them through the gates, because I'm sure they were there just as loud as I am. They just weren't allowed through the gates, probably to slow down the panic. I don't even want to call it a panic. It's not a panic. It's true. Panic is when you don't know what to do. The opposite of panic is having a plan. Just because you have a plan doesn't mean it's going to work. And let's face it, most plans don't work. But once your brain is in the mode of, okay, well, this didn't work, now I can switch to this and this and this. As long as you're thinking about what to do and how to fix it, you don't have to panic. And by definition, you aren't panicking. Okay, so here's what we're in for that cannot be reversed now. $2.2 trillion stimulus plan. It was $1 trillion, which was bad, and it was scary. But then Nancy Pelosi came back, and 2 days later, it was $2.2 trillion. People, $1 trillion is a big number. It is a very, very big number. I want you to think back a few short years ago when Obama was president. And when Obama was president, he did a $1 trillion stimulus spending bill. It caused food prices in my local area to triple. $1 trillion caused food prices to triple in my area. It caused gas prices in my area to double. What was it where you lived? What did food prices do after a $1 trillion stimulus in your area? What did a $1 trillion stimulus do to gas prices in your area? This is $2.2 trillion we're talking about. That's a lot of money that is going to fall from the sky pretty much on the same day. Inflation. There's different types of inflation. In short, there's good inflation, which means, like Apple was not long ago, more people wanted the product than could be created in time. That created a demand. That's good inflation. They could charge more because lots of people wanted it, and it was therefore they could call it a premium product. That's good inflation. It allowed people who bought Apple to be freaking totally out and out snobs and go, look, darling, I've got an Apple. Aren't I lovely? It's like, yeah, so do I. Tastes delicious. Then there's the other kind of inflation, where you just print the money. If you've heard the expression time is money, it's because we use money as a substitute to equal the value of time. You work this many hours, I'll give you this many dollars. It's a substitute for the work. Hey, you give me this work, I'll give you this, and then you can go get whatever you want with it. It's a substitute. When you just print the money without the work behind it, it's no longer of value. And that's the bad inflation. In that $2.2 trillion stimulus bill is an additional $600 a week for people's unemployment. Whatever your state gives you for unemployment, they will be adding an additional $600 on it for up to 4 months. How many? $600 a week. That's $2,400 a month. How many people that are filing for unemployment didn't even make that much money? There are millions and millions of American workers who didn't make $2,400 a month. They didn't. There are poor people in this country, and you just give them an additional $2,400 a month. You printed the money. Now they're going to, for one paycheck only, think they're rich because, holy mackerel, I've got my $300 from the state and I've got another, I'm making not making, oh, I hate it when they say making on the news. You don't make money on unemployment. You get money on unemployment. There's a big difference. And it would be nice if other people would correct their language. I'm getting $900 a month. I'm rich. No, you're not, because so did everybody else. And for those people that did make $240 a week or more, $600 a week or more, to them, they're going to be like, wow, really, this is all I got? Oh, well, yeah, but everybody's got it. And when everybody's got it, that means the stores will adjust the price. Oh, we're not done with the doom and gloom. Sorry, there's more. You have 70% of the nation on lockdown. That's what's been reported. If you don't believe it, I don't blame you, because let's face it, the reporting has been atrocious, with the press constantly saying they don't want to cover the president's his little seminars every day on the healthcare situation, the updates. Yeah, we're getting really, really bad reporting. But nonetheless, dealing with the numbers provided, most of the 30% who are still working work for the government. Government pensions have had unfunded liabilities for a long time, and that's the fancy way of saying, we can't pay you to retire, we're pretending. Well, now those unfunded liabilities that were going to collapse in a couple of years are going to collapse in a couple of months, because no one is paying in taxes and everyone is taking out money, including an additional $600. Yeah, we're on lockdown and there's still motorcycles out there. So no one's paying taxes. The way that most pensions function for government employees is it's a combination of the stock market mixed with taxes. Neither one of those are generating any money. Neither one of those are generating any money. That means, well, in California in the 90s and under Obama, not that it was Obama's fault, they issued IOUs. Now they're just going to print the money, and that just speeds up the death clock. And sad to say, this is where you get to tell me I'm wrong. You go, no, Tea Party Hardy, you're crazy. There's no way that's not going to happen. No, it's not. It's not. You're wrong. It's too late. The money's on its way. The printed money that has no value is on its way. So government employees are about to start getting not paid, or they'll start printing more, which makes the inflation all the worse. So that which was $5 before the crisis will be $8 in about a week or so. Once we get the stimulus checks coming out, the Band-Aid checks, whatever you want to call them, once those start coming out, and that extra $600 is on there plus the $1,200, that's when it goes from $5 to $8 to $9 to $12 to $15. And that was just Obama's $1 trillion, that it would go from 5 to 15. This is $2.2 trillion. That's like saying infinity times infinity. What used to cost $5, don't be surprised a bit if it doesn't cost $45, $50, $60 in a month and a half. Because the money has no value behind it. They're just printing it. Want more doom? We've got more doom. So inflation is coming. If it's not already here, it can't be stopped. How do you protect yourself from it? Well, that's a tricky question. Before the crisis started, thanks to Tim Pool and a few others, I was able to alert the people I work with and their families to prepare for the food. And I said, foolish me, we all thought it was only needed to stock up for 2 weeks. Boy, that would have gotten you through most of the crunch, though. But the crunch went 3 weeks before things calmed down where I live. Things are calm now. In fact, even Costco, God love Costco, even Costco's reduced their hours now. Because what's the point? They get the mad rush in the morning and then they're empty for the rest of the day. Same thing with the gas pumps. Nobody's driving except for those motorcycles. So, yeah. And what's really funny is in California, they're like, in California, the car accidents have dropped down to 59% of what they used to be. 59? Why aren't they 0? Oh, that's right. Because the people out there have barely any traffic. So, in another report, most people are driving over 100 miles an hour. So that's why it only went down 39% instead of 100. What are you going to do? So I promise you more doom. What I'm about to say, do not construe as financial advice, because I'm not a financial advisor. And you, trust me, you should not trust me as financial advice. But prepare as best as you can. But let me share some expressions with you that I've heard. I've heard the expression that workers earn their money and business owners make money. Workers earn the money, but business owners make the money. And when you are in an era of inflation, oh, must be one of those accidents now. When you're in an era of inflation, you can earn all the money you want, but it becomes valued less and less and less because of the inflation, because they're printing money. So the only way to kinda stay above water, hopefully, because you will not with savings. Your savings become, again, if it costs $15 in 2 weeks when it was $5 this week, that means your $10,000 in the bank is now worth, in value, $2,000, I think is the math on that. So, how do you become a business owner? There's a reason the stock market keeps trying to go back up, because there are people that are trying to become owners before it's too late and they don't have any money, because they know the money in the savings isn't going to work. But what if they put it all in the stock market and they lose it all in the stock market? And that's why I'm telling you, I am not a financial advisor. It is risky. There is no risk if you keep it in your bank. It's going to become practically worthless. We can't stop that. It's too late. We've already done the $2 trillion. If you think that Venezuela can bottom out with all their printing of money when their cause was oil, And after World War II, Japan bottomed out because they lost the war, and they printed money. The joke was that they had to use wheelbarrows to carry around all the yen, which is their form of currency at the time, possibly still is. And in 1930s Germany, you had Weimar Republic, and they printed money, and that created World War II. If you think that the United States of America is going to do the same thing with the numbers, and we all say all the time, numbers don't lie. If you think they're going to do the same thing that Japan did, that Weimar did, and that Venezuela did, and get a different result, well, that will be a great story to tell of how that happened. America's famous for great stories to tell. But numbers don't lie. This is what we're heading for, and it's too late. We can't fix it. Tea Party Hardy. Well, where's the party in this? With information, there's power, and I'm trying to give you some power to not be caught off guard, to figure out your own plan for how to overcome the inflation that will be here when people are getting $2,400 a month in addition to what they used to make when they never made $2,400 a month. That's inflation. And one last thought about Disney. As you know, if you're a regular watcher of this channel, we are a fan of the Fandom Menace. Can't say we are in the Fandom Menace because our channel's way too different in tone. But we definitely are followers of the Fandom Menace. And as they pointed out, particularly Clownfish TV, Disney does two things to make money: theme parks and movies. Neither one are open. When this thing is over, until we have, assuming we don't have a vaccine and we just have treatments, nobody's going to go on cruise lines, which Disney owns. Nobody's going to go into theaters, except for the crazy morons that are making this lockdown last longer. And nobody's going to go to theme parks with their family until we get a vaccine. Disney's doomed. Unless you want to say, you're wrong, they'll do what? Their forms of income are all based on people being grouped together, and that is something nobody wants to do anymore. Warner Brothers is owned by the phone company, which also does internet, AT&T. Warner Brothers can stay open as long as AT&T wants them to. Universal is owned by Comcast, that's the cable company. Rumor has it they're doing okay right now. Nickelodeon is owned by Viacom. I don't know who owns Viacom, so I don't know if they'll make it. Paramount is doomed. Disney's doomed. No, you're wrong, Tea Party Hardy channel. There isn't going to be inflation. These companies are fine. They just got trillion. Oh crap, that would be the inflation. Yes, that would be the inflation when they got all the bailouts. Well, they're not bailouts because they didn't do anything wrong. None of us did anything wrong. It's a freaking cootie. I've been putting this off for a few weeks because I don't know how many of you are going to watch this, and I don't know how many of you have the means to overcome it. Not many people will. We started in 1776 with a bold idea and a revolution, and many people died for that revolution. We are dying with a whimper and hiding from a cootie. We had two choices before us. Let lots and lots of people die now from a cootie, or generations to die from poverty, and maybe not even be Americans anymore because we're vulnerable. The reason that captain dude got fired, so says me, is because he exposed that an aircraft carrier was vulnerable. We only have so many aircraft carriers, and when you tell the rest of the world, oh, yeah, the cootie's making it so we can't actually use our military. Oops. I understand why he did it, and I hope, and I guess he feels no shame for it, and I wouldn't if I was he. He did what he had to protect his crew. That's a good captain thing. But the way he did it, and it may have been the only way to do it, he obviously thought so because he knew what he was doing was going to lead to what it did. Sometimes it's worth falling on your sword, but it also at the same time, while he fell on his sword for his crew, he also exposed a weak link in our armor. The only thing we have going for us right now is the rest of the world is fighting the cootie too. And the rest of the world is on lockdown too. No, it's not. Africa's not. Yeah. Maybe that malaria thing's in there. And outside of doom and into conspiracy real quick, Prince Charles is old. Prince Charles had the cootie. He appears to be doing fine. Boris Johnson had the cootie. He's in the proper age to be stricken. He appears to be doing fine. Angela Merkel was on hiatus because of a possibility she had it. The Pope, the same thing. And yet all these people are still kicking and doing just fine. Does that mean that that malaria drug that is suspected to have protected Africa is also what's protecting them? I don't know. Do you? But it is odd that everybody in the Rand Paul seems to be doing fine. Mario Cuomo? No. Whoever the dude is, the Cuomo that's on CNN in his basement where he belongs, he's got it. They're all doing fine. As in they lived and they're not on a respirator. Nancy Pelosi turned 80 on March 26th and she doesn't have it. And the House, the Hill, Capitol Hill, was exposed via the staffers with the cootie. Why aren't those people dropping like flies? Especially people who are in their 80s and 70s like the rest of the world. Possibly because they took those 2 pills that Trump said might be of huge benefit. And I'm suspecting that they did. And then right after they took the pills is when they went out and laughed and called him a liar to his face. Because that's who those people are. I don't know what you can do with this information, but I really hope you can use it to help you, your family, your loved ones. Because it's coming. As certain as the cootie was coming from China, through Europe, eventually to America, the inflation is going to hit. It's already done. The cootie was already unleashed. The printing of the presses has already been unleashed. How are you going to deal with it? I hope well. It's not going to be easy. Generations are going to die from poverty because we didn't let a lot die. It's a noble choice. Just like that captain fell on his sword, we fell on our sword as well. And just like the captain falling on his sword exposed a chink in our armor, so too did falling on our sword expose us to generations of poverty. When you're on an airplane, they say, when the mask comes down, the oxygen mask, put it over your face because you can't save the person next to you if you're dead. We can't save... Well, you get the idea. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you in the future. Hopefully we'll have enough money to still be able to produce these, as in a place to live and electricity. Hopefully our country will too. Hopefully you'll have enough money to be able to own your device, have Wi-Fi, or whatever it is you use to watch it. We pray for you, we pray for America, we pray for the world. We're in deep doo. We're in really deep doo. The choice has been made for us through our elected leaders. Now we have to figure out how to survive it. And it's not going to be easy. And any of you over 30, this is where you get to tell me I'm wrong. Any of you over 30, this is the rest of your life. Get ready for it. Figure out how to handle it. This can't be taken back. Obama's, his stimulus, the pain of that just started fading away about 8 months ago. And he's been gone for 3 years. And it was the beginning of his term when he did that trillion. So we're talking 14, 15 years. And that was only $1.1 trillion. And people were working. Sorry, that was $1 trillion. And people were working then. After 9/11, I had to go to work the next day. And I worked at a theme park back then. And I went to work, and it was gloomy, and it was creepy, but we all had jobs. And lots of more people got jobs because they started putting barriers around everything, starting selling mirrors to put underneath your car. Now, no one's allowed to go to work. This ain't like 9/11. This is Pearl Harbor. but the whole country was blown up. Be careful. Be safe. Plan as best as you can. Stay healthy. And we'll see you in the future, whatever it brings. Please, in the comments, tell me I'm wrong and tell me why. Please, please, please. I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. Please, please, please tell me.